We live in a world that never ceases to test us. Every day we are bombarded with a flood of information, demands, and expectations. Deadlines, social pressure, economic instability, personal dramas. All this is like a storm that tries to rock our ship, tear off the sails, and throw us on the shore of despair. Feelings of anxiety, burnout, and helplessness have become almost the norm. We look outside for support. Social connections, material goods, recognition. But what happens when these external supports collapse? When the world around us descends into chaos, and we feel defenseless? The great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, faced with wars, epidemics, and betrayal, sought the answer to this question not in the outside world, but within ourselves. He said, "Take care of what you have inside, and no evil from the outside will be able to break you." He taught to build an inner citadel, an impregnable fortress within your own mind. This is not a metaphor for isolation or indifference. On the contrary, it is a teaching on how to gain an indestructible fortitude that will allow you to not only survive any storm, but to thrive with clarity of thought, calmness, and purpose. It's about becoming the master of your inner world, regardless of what's going on outside. Today we will dive into the depths of this powerful concept. We will explore what the inner citadel really is, what elements it consists of, and most importantly, how each of us can build this impregnable fortress in our minds, step by step. Get ready for a journey that could change the way you perceive yourself and the world. This will be a detailed guide to surviving and thriving in today's chaos. Chapter 1. What is the inner citadel, and why is it important today? Let's start with a fundamental question. What is the inner citadel? And why is it as relevant in the 21st century as it was 2,000 years ago? Picture your mind as a city, or better said, a state. It has a central square, your consciousness, narrow streets, your thoughts, dark back alleys, your subconscious fears, and of course, walls and gates. The inner citadel is not the whole city. It is its most protected, most important core. It is the center where external adversity cannot penetrate, where your true essence, your values, your ability to think rationally and make decisions are stored. It is the seat of your inner power. In today's world, crowded with information noise, constant social media pressure, cultural and political divisions, our psyche is under constant attack. We are faced with information overload, an endless stream of news, opinions, and advertisements that pollute our minds and make it hard to focus. Comparison culture. Social media creates the illusion of others' perfect lives, creating envy, low self-esteem, and a constant sense of inadequacy. High pace of life. We are constantly rushing around trying to accomplish more than we can, leading to chronic stress and burnout. Uncertainty, pandemics, economic crises, geopolitical conflicts. The world is becoming increasingly unpredictable. All of these factors erode our mental toughness. They punch holes in our defenses, making us vulnerable to anxiety, depression, frustration. Without an inner citadel, we become a piece of paper that gets picked up by any wind. We react to whatever happens instead of choosing how to respond. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Withdraw into yourself." One's state of mind is almost constantly disturbed by external factors. Few people are able to realize that all a person needs to do to achieve happiness is to focus on his or her inner resources. This advice is more important today than ever before. Your citadel is your personal shield and your unshakable support. Chapter 2. The foundation of the citadel. Mindfulness and self-knowledge. Every fortress begins with a solid foundation. In our inner citadel, that foundation is awareness and self-knowledge. You cannot protect what you do not know and understand. Awareness, mindfulness. The guards on the walls. Mindfulness is not just a buzzword. It is a fundamental practice that allows you to be in the present moment, to notice your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without judgment. It is like placing guards on the walls of your citadel that constantly scan the horizon, alerting you to approaching threats or opportunities. Research in neurobiology shows that regular mindfulness practice, meditation, mindful breathing, changes the structure of the brain. It strengthens the prefrontal cortex responsible for decision-making and emotional control, and reduces the activity of the amygdala, the center of fear and anxiety. It doesn't just feel good, it literally rewires your brain for resilience. Why it's important. Without mindfulness, we live on autopilot. We react reflexively, give in to impulses, and let negative thoughts roam uncontrollably in our minds. Mindfulness allows us to notice this automatic reaction, pause and choose how to respond rather than just react. It gives us control over what we let into our citadel. How to build. Practice mindful breathing. For a few minutes a day, focus solely on your breath. Feel the air going in and out. When the mind becomes distracted, gently bring it back to the breath. Body scan, body scan. Lie down and consistently pay attention to the sensations in every part of your body, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Conscious daily activities. Perform routine tasks, washing dishes, walking, eating, with full attention to every sensation, sound, smell. Self-awareness. Map your territory. Self-awareness is a deep understanding of your values, beliefs, strengths, weaknesses, triggers, and behavior patterns. It is the creation of a detailed map of your inner territory. How can you defend a fortress without knowing where its weaknesses are, where its stores of supplies, your resources, are, and where its most important inhabitants live your true goals? Psychologists emphasize the importance of self-efficacy and self-understanding for mental health. People who know themselves well are more resilient to stress and better able to cope with challenges. They don't waste energy trying to be something they are not. Why it matters. Defining boundaries. When you know your values, you can clearly define what is acceptable to you and what is not. This allows you to build strong psychological boundaries. Understanding triggers. You begin to notice what triggers your anger, fear, anxiety, and can prepare for or avoid these situations in advance. Utilizing strengths. Knowing your talents and abilities allows you to draw on them in difficult moments and solve problems effectively. Identifying values. Your deep values are your compass within the citadel. They provide direction when the outside world seems confusing. How to build. Keep a diary. Write down your thoughts, feelings, reactions to events on a regular basis. Ask yourself questions. Why did I react this way? What is most important to me right now? What am I afraid of? Self-inquiry meditation. Focus on questions about yourself, your goals, your fears during meditation. Feedback. Ask trusted people to share their perspective on your strengths and growth areas, but always filter this information through the lens of your own self-knowledge. Personality and values tests. Use these as a starting point for reflection, not as a final verdict, e.g., personality type core values tests. How realistic is this fear? What is the worst that could happen? Is there another explanation for this situation? Change negative thoughts to more neutral or positive thoughts. Psychological resilience. The indestructible material of walls, Chapter 3. Citadel walls. Emotional regulation and resilience. The walls of the citadel are your defenses. In our case, they are emotional regulation and psychological resilience. They don't make you immune to pain or sadness, but they do allow you to endure them without collapsing from the inside out. Emotional regulation. Gate control. Emotional regulation is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions. It is not the suppression of emotions, but the ability to respond appropriately to them without allowing them to take control of your behavior and thinking. Your emotions are messengers, not masters. Emotional regulation is like the gate of your citadel. You decide what to let in and what to leave outside. The concept of emotional intelligence, EQ, popularized by Daniel Goleman, emphasizes that the ability to manage your own emotions and the emotions of others is often more important than academic intelligence, IQ, for success in life. Why it matters. Preventing impulsive reactions. When you're upset or angry, it's easy to say or do things you'll regret later. Regulation allows you to avoid this. Conserving energy. Uncontrolled emotional outbursts are draining. Knowing how to deal with emotions saves your inner resource. Making better decisions. In a state of emotional balance, you think more clearly and make more rational decisions. Maintaining relationships. People who know how to manage their emotions build healthier and stronger relationships. How to build. Name the emotion. The simple act of naming what you're feeling, I feel angry, I feel anxious, I feel sad, already reduces the intensity of the emotion by activating the 90-second rule. Neuroscientist Jill Bolte Taylor says the natural cycle of experiencing an emotion in the body lasts about 90 seconds if you don't feed it with thoughts. Allow the emotion to pass by observing bodily sensations. Attention-shifting techniques. In a crisis situation, distract yourself. Count to 10. Take deep breaths. Focus on an external object. Cognitive restructuring from CPT. Ask yourself questions. Resilience is the ability to adapt and recover from setbacks, difficulties, and stress. It is not the absence of problems but your ability to bounce back from them and become stronger. A fortress is not destroyed by every blow. It only grows stronger, and its defenders learn new tactics. Fact, concept. Research shows that resilience is not an innate quality, but a skill that can be developed. Psychologists Emmy Werner and Ruth Smith conducted a famous longitudinal study of children born into poverty and hardship and identified key factors in resilience: having at least one supportive adult, a sense of purpose, and developed coping skills. Why it matters. Experiencing failure. Life is full of defeats. Resilience allows you to see them as lessons rather than the end of the world. Adapting to change. The world is constantly changing. Flexibility and adaptability are critical. Staying motivated. After a fall, a resilient person finds the strength to get up and continue on the path. How to build. Develop optimism. This is not blind positive thinking, but the ability to see possibilities even in difficult situations. Focus on what you can control. Learn from mistakes. After a failure, analyze what happened, learn from it, and plan your next steps. Build supportive relationships. Connecting with people who believe in you and support you is a powerful buffer against stress. Practice self-soothing. When the going gets tough, treat yourself as you would treat a friend who is suffering. Show compassion for yourself. Set realistic goals. Small victories build self-confidence and fuel resilience. Chapter 4, Towers and Sentinels. Clarity of thought and purpose. What good are strong walls if the inside is chaotic and the sentinels are blind? The towers and sentinels of our citadel are about clarity of thought and conscious purpose. They allow us to see far ahead, understand the true nature of threats, and know where we are headed. Clarity of thinking. The light in the watchtower, clarity of thought, is the ability to see things as they are, without distortion, prejudice, or emotional coloration. It is the ability to separate facts from interpretations, objective reality from subjective perception. Marcus Aurelius kept coming back to this idea. Everything you hear is opinion, not fact. Everything you see is perspective, not truth. Cognitive distortions, e.g., catastrophizing, black and white thinking, mind reading, are common traps of our mind that prevent clear thinking. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, teaches how to identify and challenge these distortions. Why it's important. Adequate decision-making. When you see reality clearly, you make decisions based on facts rather than fears or assumptions. Reducing anxiety. Many of our anxieties are based on distorted perceptions of future events. Clear thinking allows you to reduce this irrational anxiety. Conflict resolution. Understanding different perspectives and separating facts from emotions helps in resolving interpersonal conflicts. How to build. Separation principle. Separate the event from your reaction to it. The event is neutral, your interpretation gives it an emotional coloring. Socratic dialogue technique. Ask yourself questions. How do I know this? Are there other explanations? What evidence do I have? What are the implications of this belief? Media hygiene. Limit your consumption of news and social media, which can distort your perception of the world. Choose reliable sources. Practice gratitude. Shifting your focus to what you are grateful for helps shift perceptions from negative to positive without denying the reality of problems. Conscious purpose and values. The North Star over the citadel. Your conscious purpose is not just a to-do list. It is your deep why, the reason you get up in the morning, your contribution to the world, your compass. Values are the principles that guide you. They are like the North Star that lights the path of your citadel, even in the darkest night. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, argued in his book Man in Search of Meaning that having meaning in life is the key to survival and mental well-being even in the most inhumane conditions. Existential psychology emphasizes the importance of the search for meaning. Why it matters. Motivation and energy. When you have a clear purpose, you have an inexhaustible source of energy and motivation. Decision filter. Your values become your decision filter. What is consistent with your values, you let through. That which contradicts, you reject. Resilience to external pressure. If you know your values, it is easier to resist societal pressures or other people's expectations. Meaning in suffering. Even in the most difficult challenges, purpose and values can give meaning to suffering, helping you survive it. How to build. Identifying personal values. Ask yourself the questions, what is most important to me in life? What do I stand for? What kind of person do I want to be? Make a list of 3 to 5 core values, e.g., integrity, compassion, growth, freedom, creativity. Mission statement. Based on your values, formulate a personal mission or long-term goal. This could be something like, I want to help people reach their potential, or I want to create beauty in the world. Visualization. Regularly visualize yourself living your values and achieving your goals. Values-based actions. Every day, do at least one small action that aligns with one of your core values. This strengthens them. Support and recovery. Stock up and rest for the garrison. Chapter 5. Garrison and supplies. Self-compassion and support. A fortress cannot exist without a garrison, the soldiers who defend it, and without the supplies that enable them to survive a siege. In our inner citadel, the garrison is self-compassion, and the supplies are support and recovery. Self-compassion. Warriors who heal themselves. Self-compassion is treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and care. Especially in moments of suffering, failure, or feelings of inadequacy. It is not self-pity or excusing mistakes, but recognizing that being human means being imperfect, and that mistakes are part of the learning process. A garrison that doesn't know how to heal its wounded is doomed. Research by Dr. Kristin Neff, one of the world's leading experts on self-compassion, shows that it is strongly linked to increased emotional resilience, reduced anxiety and depression, and improved overall life satisfaction. It activates the attachment system in the brain, which promotes feelings of security. Why it's important. Reducing the inner critic. Many of us are our own worst critics. Self-compassion helps silence that voice. Recovery from failure. Instead of drowning in self-injury, self-compassion allows you to recover faster and move on. Motivation to grow. Self-compassion does not decrease, but rather increases your motivation to improve yourself because you are acting out of a desire to take care of yourself, not out of fear of failure. Support in difficult times. When no one understands, self-compassion becomes your trusted ally. How to build. Treat yourself like your best friend. Imagine your friend facing the same problem. What would you say to him or her? How would you support him or her? Say it to yourself. Recognize common humanity. Remember that suffering, mistakes, imperfections are universal human experiences. You are not alone in this. Practice mindful touch. Put your hand on your heart or hug yourself when you're having a hard time. It's a simple physiological gesture that can calm the nervous system. Writing to yourself. Write yourself a letter full of understanding and support, as if you were writing to someone you love very much. Any fortress needs regular resupply and rest for its garrison. Our inner citadel is no exception. This means consciously replenishing physical, emotional, and mental resources, as well as building an external support system. Research shows that chronic stress, lack of sleep, and poor nutrition have catastrophic effects on cognitive function, emotional regulation, and overall mental health. Social isolation is one of the most powerful predictors of depression and reduced life expectancy. Why it matters. Burnout prevention. Regular rest and replenishment of resources is the best burnout prevention. Physical health. Mental and physical health are inextricably linked. A strong body keeps your spirit strong. Fresh perspective. Vacation allows one to reboot, get new ideas, and look at problems from a different angle. Social connection. Human beings are social creatures. The support of loved ones gives a sense of belonging and security. How to build quality sleep. Prioritize sleep. Establish a regular sleep schedule. Create a comfortable environment. Healthy eating. A balanced diet affects mood and cognitive function. Physical activity. Regular exercise is a powerful antidepressant and source of energy. Even a short walk can help. Time for recreation and hobbies. Make time for activities that bring you joy and relaxation. Develop a social network. Maintain relationships with family, friends, co-workers who understand and support you. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Professional help. Recognizing that you need help from a psychologist or therapist is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's like calling in an experienced engineer to fortify a fortress. Chapter 6. The Training Ground. Constant practice and adaptation. Building a citadel is only half the battle. It must be constantly maintained, strengthened, and its garrison trained. Life is a dynamic process, and our citadel must be ready for new challenges. It is our training ground. Constant practice. Daily drills. All of the above elements are not one-time actions, but skills that require constant practice. Just as a warrior does not become a master of the sword after one lesson, our minds do not gain stability instantly. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change and adapt throughout life. The more often we use certain neural pathways, for example, for mindfulness or positive thinking, the stronger they become. Why it matters. Strengthening neural connections. Constant practice literally rewires your brain, making helpful reactions more automatic. Developing habits. Resilience becomes not an effort, but a natural part of your being. Adapting to new challenges. Regular drills allow you to respond quickly to unforeseen situations. AC building. Mini practices. Incorporate mindfulness in short moments of the day, e.g., conscious inhale, exhale before starting a task. Morning and evening rituals. Start the day with a short meditation, end with reflection and gratitude. Challenge yourself consciously. Put yourself in situations that require you to apply your new skills, e.g., consciously deal with frustration in traffic. Adaptation and flexibility. Modernizing the fortress. The world is changing, and our inner citadel must also be capable of modernization. Rigidity can be dangerous. The ability to be flexible, learn, and adapt is a sign of true strength. Carol Dweck's growth mindset concept states that people with this mindset believe in their ability to evolve and learn, seeing setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than as proof of their limitations. Why it matters. Overcoming stagnation. A flexible mindset allows you to seek new solutions and not get stuck in old patterns. Resilience to change. Instead of resisting change, you learn to embrace it and use it to your advantage. Continuous development. Life is an endless opportunity for learning. How to build. Accept mistakes as lessons. Failures are data. Analyze them without self-bashing. Get out of your comfort zone. Try new things regularly. Learn new skills. Visit new places. Be open to new ideas. Listen to opinions different from your own. Broaden your horizons. Evaluate regularly. Periodically review your values, goals, strategies. Do they align with who you are now and who you want to become? So, we have come a long way in exploring the concept of the inner citadel. We have seen that it is not just a philosophical idea, but a practical guide to building mental resilience in an ever-changing world. Your inner citadel is a foundation of awareness and self-knowledge. Knowing yourself and your boundaries. The walls of emotional regulation and resilience. The ability to manage emotions and recover from blows. Towers of mental clarity and purpose. A clear vision of the world and your path. Garrison of self-compassion and reserves of support. Self-kindness and caring for one's resources. A training ground of constant practice and adaptation, continuous development and flexibility. Building this citadel is not escapism from the world. On the contrary, it is the highest form of presence. When your inner world is calm and protected, You can interact with the outside world much more effectively. You become an active participant in your life rather than a victim of circumstances. You can be compassionate, courageous, and wise because you have an unshakable foothold within. Marcus Aurelius realized that the outside world will always be full of challenges. The only thing we can truly control is our mind, our reactions, our thoughts. That is where our true strength lies, our impregnable fortress. Start building your citadel today. Choose one of the elements described. Perhaps it will be a daily mindfulness practice, journaling, or just a few minutes a day to identify your values. Start small, but be consistent. Remember that the mightiest fortress is built stone by stone, year by year. The world will continue to storm, but within your citadel, you will always be able to find refuge, clarity, and strength to step out to meet any challenge. If this video resonated with your soul, click like and share it with anyone who you think needs an inner stronghold right now. Tell us in the comments, what element of your inner citadel do you find most important? Or perhaps what are you working on right now? Your story may inspire others. Subscribe to our channel not to miss new in-depth essays on self-development, psychology, and philosophy. And remember, the most important battle takes place not in the outside world, but inside you, and it is there that you can win the most important victory. See you again.